On this week's show, the Georgia Southern Eagles win another Sun Belt baseball series, this one at home against Arkansas Little Rock. We'll also let you know where the Georgia Southern golf team is heading for the NCAA Regionals. All that and more as we welcome you inside the Eagles Nest. Welcome inside the Eagles Nest. I'm your host, Josh Aubrey, being joined by Mike Anthony, sports editor and Georgia Southern beat writer for the Statesboro Herald. And Mike, once again, the Georgia Southern Eagles, stop me if you've heard this one before, winning another series in the Sun Belt. They lost the first game pretty handedly to a team that you thought there was a chance they could sweep, but no problem, though. They come back with two great pitching performances on Saturday and Sunday. Hit the ball well enough on Saturday to get the win, and then hit the ball pretty well on Sunday to clinch this series. Once again, your thoughts on where the Eagles are right now? I think they're a half game out of first, in second by themselves.
Well, they're actually 2 games out of first. South Alabama having a good weekend, getting a sweep. So South Alabama really in the driver's seat as far as the division's concerned. That weird tie game still the difference with Coastal Carolina and Georgia Southern. If they were to tie in the final standings, Georgia Southern would get the tiebreaker based on their series win in Conway. However, because of that tie in the Chanticleer's conference record, very unlikely that would happen. So Georgia Southern just needs to, as you said, keep taking care of business. And yeah, a sweep would have been nice against a Little Rock team that's really struggled this year. But baseball's a funny game. You mentioned the strong pitching throughout the Saturday and Sunday games, back-to-back complete game efforts for Georgia Southern. However, the exact opposite happened on Friday. Just a couple of bad innings, dug themselves in a hole early, and Coach Rodney Hennon said it. They just didn't have the bats that night. They couldn't get in the game early enough in the game to give themselves a chance. And when you start looking at a 9-0 deficit for 2-3 innings, it's easy to kind of punt on a game. Luckily for the Eagles, though, they've shown some resolve this season. They were able to dig in and come out and look like a much better team the final 2 days.
Yeah, important for them to be able to get those complete games too, because we've mentioned how well the bullpen has played. They've also been needed quite a bit. So to be able to get 2 days of solid rest for those guys, and then this week being off because of the finals week, they don't have the midweek game, so they should be fully rested, and they're going to need it because Lafayette is coming off being swept. You're going to face a team with their back against the wall right now on the road in a tough place to play. What's your thoughts on this series with Lafayette coming up this weekend?
You'd love to say that you're catching a team at the right time after they've lost 3 games, but this is a Louisiana Lafayette team that's proven that it can get to regionals. It can win regionals. This is a team only 2 years removed from being ranked tops in the entire country. So you mentioned a team backed up against the corner. Their pride's hurting right now. They pretty much lost any chance they had of winning their division and taking a top seed into the conference tournament. And I don't think that they're going to shrivel up and let Georgia Southern come in and have their way. They're going to come out guns blazing. They want to get back into this race, get the best seed they can. They're a team that's actually very similar to Georgia Southern. It should be a great matchup. A lot of good pitching, a lot of depth in the pitching staff for the Raging Cajuns. Maybe not the most powerful hitting team, but neither are the Eagles. This is going to be all about which pitchers can make pitches in big situations, which batters can find a hole in big situations.
All right, well, let's get out and take a look at some of the Eagles' highlights from their 3-game series this past weekend. Georgia Southern hosting Arkansas Little Rock in the first of 3 on Friday night. Already up 1-0. Zach Baker, the hot shot into left. 3-0 Trojans. Next batter is Hunter Owens. He sends one down the first baseline. That's an RBI double to extend the Little Rock lead. Visitors still at it in the 3rd inning. Christian Reyes collects an RBI with the single into right. Georgia Southern in a 9-0 hole. The Eagles trying to get something going. Ryan Cleveland gets Southern on the board with the RBI single to right, but the damage was already done in this one. And the Eagles fall to Arkansas Little Rock by a final count of 11-4. Game 2 Saturday, and Evan Challenger finally throwing the way everyone thought. More on him later after getting the strikeout here. Offensively, Stephen Curry coming through with the single into left. Later, same inning, Mason McWhorter, the batter. And he'll drive the fly ball to left. This one deep enough to bring C.J. Brazel in from third. And it's 1-0 Eagles. Challenger getting some nice defensive help as Ryan Cleveland gets down for this one and flips to Challenger for the out. Challenger continuing to mow down the opposition. He'd finished with 7 strikeouts. Back on offense in the 4th inning, Logan Baldwin. The drive to straightaway center field, just shy of going out. Baldwin cruises into second, the stand-up double. He'd come in moments later on the single to center by Evan McDonald. Mitchell Golden scores as well, and the Eagles take a 3-0 lead. More good defense as McDonald showing off his glove work as well, spinning and making the play at short. More offensive help in the 7th. Evan McDonald again, and he plays this one off the wall in left for a double. Stephen Curry eventually brings him in. The ground ball to second, fielder's choice, and it's 4-0 Georgia Southern on top. Time for one more run, and the batter Tyler Martin drives this one down the line and left. Mason McWhorter comes in to score, and it's 5-0 Georgia Southern. Evan Challenger does the rest, a complete game shutout, allowing 3 hits. And the Eagles win this one by a final count of 5-0. To Sunday we go, and a little rain to start things off, and a dark cloud to begin the game as well. The visitors with a 2-0 lead. The solo home run here by Zach Baker, putting the Eagles in an early hole. Georgia Southern cuts into that lead, though, on the RBI single to center by C.J. Brazel. Jordan Wren scores to make it 2-1. Tyler Martin then ties it up with one swing of the bat. The solo home run to left, and we are tied at 2-all. Chase Cohen settling down after the 2 early runs, shutting the visitors' bats down the rest of the way. A complete game, 4 hits, 6 strikeouts, and plenty of offense to come after walking in a run. Mason McWhorter hit by a pitch, brings in another to make it 4-2. Then the floodgates open. Tyler Martin singles into left. Logan Baldwin and Stephen Curry both score to make it 6-2. And then the finishing touch off the bat of Ryan Cleveland. He deposits his 11th home run of the year, up, and away to right. The 3-run shot clinches another Sun Belt series for the Eagles as they win by a final of 9-2.
Hey, Miss Thompson, everything's fine. It's going to be no problem. I'll have you done in a few minutes.
My name is Tazy Nordhoff, part owner of Complete Car Care, and I want you to come see me.
Well, Mike, moving on to the softball field, it looked as though the Eagles softball team was on quite a roll. They had swept 2 series in a row, which included Coastal Carolina, who was a pretty good team coming in. They've kind of struggled since then. They lost 2 out of 3 at home, and now this past weekend were swept on the road. They have 1 series left against Georgia State. Pretty big series because they've got to try to win a few games to help themselves, because this is it for them as far as the regular season goes.
Yeah, this is where Georgia Southern's just got to regroup whatever momentum it can in the final series. You know they're going to be up for it, a rivalry series against Georgia State, but more importantly, just something to get the confidence. Giving up 20 runs in 3 games, not good for the pitching staff that's been pretty solid throughout the year. So hopefully they can right that ship. And at this point, as far as the seeding goes, still a couple of options based on how they do up in Atlanta, how the rest of the conference does. But the writing's on the wall for Georgia Southern. A record around 500, you're not going to get in that large bid. Right now, it's just a matter of get the best seed you can and then show up to that conference tournament ready to play.
All right, well, one team we do know is advancing to the postseason is the Georgia Southern men's golf team. That was announced this week that they are clearly inside the field of, I believe, is it 80?
81.
And they're 61st, so it looks like, they had secured a spot. We had debated that over the last few weeks, but we had a feeling, as well as they've played in the spring, that they were going to get that. Your thoughts on where the golf team is as they get ready for the selection show as we speak? We're going to go hear from Coach and some of the players in just a moment, but getting ready for the postseason for them.
Well, I know we've talked about it before on this show about how golf's a little bit different than baseball, softball, pretty much any other sport where you can't just sit there and count up wins and losses. If you really want to dig into the details, you can see whether Georgia Southern finished higher or lower than a specific ranked team in a given tournament. But the course changes every week, the teams change every week, the weather plays a bigger factor than most any other sport. What you just have to look for is overall consistency, overall scoring. Georgia Southern's been there. They've been coming on stronger in the spring half of the season. That's what you want to see. I think that's what has them sleeping comfortably, knowing that they'll be invited to the postseason. Now it's just a matter of where exactly they go. Again, some very different courses in the regional setup, some different weather, different kinds of grass, a whole lot of things that you don't usually consider in other sports that are going through the minds of the Eagle golfers right now.
Yes, there is a big difference. It's not like in baseball where you're going to just talk about the difference in maybe where you're playing, but it could be, a longer course, a shorter course. As you mentioned, different kind of grass than they're used to. There's a lot of variables, and you hope that it plays into Georgia Southern's hands. Well, let's hear from Coach and some of the players about them advancing to the regionals.
Anytime you get the opportunity to play in the postseason, it's a great deal for our program. It's a very hard thing to do to qualify for regionals. But our eyes now focus on making it to the next step, which is national championship. And to do that, we have to go through Austin, which is going to be a very tough regional. But we feel like every regional is tough. College golf is so deep these days, so for us to get through, no matter where we would have gone, we would have to play very well. So that's our focus now, just doing our job when we get to Texas next week.
We're excited. I think this is something that we're ready to do. Something that we've been looking forward to since the beginning of the spring. Something that we tried to work towards, and it's nice to get it done.
Obviously, I'm very happy that we made NCAA Regionals. I think that it's going to be a good challenge. The field's really good. I'm just very excited that we get to compete against some of the best in the country.
Well, congratulations once again to the golf team. They'll be getting underway soon, and we wish them good luck there. All right, well, before we go, congratulations also to Marcus Aligwe being drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs. He'll be joining former Statesboro Blue Devil Justin Houston, not only on the team, but vying for, I guess, a similar position. He's a linebacker last I looked, so we'll see how that goes. And also, I believe there were 7 that signed signed free agent contracts all around. So, congratulations to the Eagles. It's nice once again to see an Eagle drafted and a few that I would not be surprised if they end up making the NFL roster. All right, well, that'll wrap things up for now. For Mike Anthony, I'm Josh Aubrey. Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you again next week.